Hi, Danielle.
Hi, Case.
Couldn't be more excited to have an old pal, a superstar in every sense of the word.
Writer, actor, director, humanitarian.
Skincare enthusiast, animal activist.
Fiancé.
Yeah, let's end on that because that's the most important.
That's most important.
Please welcome dear friend Whitney Cummings.
Such a pleasure to be here. I'm filming you.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Instead of doing the cue line you just gave me.
We're so happy to have you.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege.
So, to Danielle's point about when you were running those 3 shows, what was your mental state?
I was not running Two Broke Girls.
Co-creating.
Yes, but you were a co-creator, and so you were still a decision maker.
That's right. But Michael Patrick King, I always feel the need to say, I don't know if you've heard of The Comeback at all.
Yeah, come again?
So he's
It's only someone amazing that would list that before Sex and the
Do you
City.
remember that we would watch The Comeback at my house? You were there the night that he came and answered our questions.
Of course I was.
What?
It was
What?
It's not often that you have like a casual night to watch a show and then the creator comes in and like takes questions.
And we asked him
I would have lost my
Everyone was like, now
fucking
excuse me, how did you come up with that tracksuit?
Yes, because we used to have the Comeback viewing parties at my house. It was sort of like
love
a
that show
whole
so
thing. I've always been Valerie.
And
Sherr.
how did you feel then? Because I've had this experience a bit, but it's so like a magical thing that you kind of love this show as a fan to make that leap into like, now I'm working with this person. Now we've created something together that has been a success and changed both of our lives.
Surreal and insane and weird. I mean, I had this interesting, and to your point about while all that was happening, I hadn't really talked about this much, like while all this was happening, I was having like a lot of tragedy in my personal life. And I think that may be cosmic or God, I don't know what everyone believes in, doesn't matter, but whatever the serendipity of it like both my parents had strokes. I had family members going to rehab. Like my dad passed. It was like all this stuff happened that just kind of made me not think about it too much, if that makes any sense.
It does, but because it is, it's like I can't stress.
You're kind of on autopilot.
Yeah, it was kind of like ratings, like who gives a shit? I'm like picking out caskets. Like it was just like, bless and curse, whatever it is. They all happened simultaneously. So I wasn't really able to get into the thing of all of that.
You didn't seem to be sweating during that time. I was like so impressed. I was like, she's got 3 fucking shows. She's, and I was just like, and you were not breaking a sweat.
Really?
Not a sweat. I mean, again, from an outside perspective.
Oh gosh, I feel like I was crumbling, but it's adrenaline. I mean, and again, I think it's like, I'm used to chaos. Like I grew up in chaos. So
I thrive on it.
Yes. So pressure, chaos, adrenaline, cortisol. I'm like, let's go.
I know for me, when like things get like quiet, if there's a night where it's like, I don't really have anything to do, I'm like, I'm a failure.
Yes.
There's no noise around me. There's no.
I just literally had like my first night off in probably 4 years. Cause it went, I did a book and then I did Roseanne, which was a walk in the park.
Yeah. Sounded like it was real chill. Real chill.
Yeah. Not, and then this tour and the special and this thing, and I had one night off, and we were sitting there having dinner, and I just looked at my fiance, and it was so calm and so tranquil, and I was like, "We've got mold in the house. I smell it." And I literally was like, "We have to rip out all the walls." Like I had to found myself creating chaos.
He's like, "Can we just sit?"
He's like, "I don't smell it. What do you like?" He was like, "Do you even know what mold smells like?" I
love the way you describe him in your special. Can you tell the line about what he said about Christmas?
Right. So love him so much. I really wanted to
Truly
be
one of the funniest things ever.
Really want to be with someone who is not broken, because I found myself in a lot of relationships where I was like trauma bonding with people. I have this new rule where like in the first 3 months of relationships, because I am still dating. Joking.
That's probably not a good idea. But hey, guess what?
She likes chaos.
I like to 3 things at once always.
Yes.
And anyway, so I didn't want to share any like bad things that had happened to me, because then you kind of start bonding with people and you start getting this false sense of intimacy just because you're sharing trauma with each other.
And then if they're there for you over it, you're like, but they've been so, I can't ever get out of it.
And now what if he's staying because he feels guilty? Because now he knows what happened to me. Like, I want you to be able to come and go when you please. Like, I don't want you here for the wrong reason. So I found myself really kind of delaying like any traumatic things that had happened to me, telling him. And I finally, he is wonderful, had a, he's a tall, cis white man. Not a ton of struggle in his life. And I was just sort of, Time's Up was happening. Me Too was happening. He had questions. And I was sort of walking him through kind of like how it works when you are traumatized. And sometimes you repress things, or sometimes you don't want to share things. Sometimes there's a delay, whatever. And we got into sort of my childhood trauma. And I told him some pretty gnarly things that happened to me when I was a kid. And he was like, oh my God, I totally get it. When I was 5, I woke up on Christmas Eve and I saw my dad wrapping gifts. And he was
so serious.
He was shaken by that.
He was to the core.
And he had repressed that, or
he
was living with that.
He's been carrying this.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
And that's a burden.
He's gotten through it. I'm so moved that he was able to share that with me, because I know. I mean, he was upset. I mean, he was visibly like. I was like, "Are you like?" I felt bad. I was like, "I guess this is your biggest problem." Like
you said in the special, you were like, "Did you have?" Then he had sex with you, like just
like what? This is
trying to find another angle.
I just couldn't, and I you have to have compassion, because if that is your biggest problem, that's your biggest problem.
Yeah, like that. It's all relative.
It's all relative. Like that was traumatic.
And yet,
that was traumatic for him. So I just found myself.
But it's also beautiful that you found this person, because it is wonderful to have like that steadying force, I think, and not be locked in this thing with just two.
That's right. And yeah, it's been interesting, and I think it's helped me sort of understand you don't know what you don't know. And I found with this special, like at the time it was going on, I ended up rewriting a lot of it because everything was changed. But I found there were a lot of men that were just like, "What's the big fucking deal?" And instead of just going, "You're an idiot, why don't you know?" I tried to go, okay, like, how do you view the world? Like, and I tried to understand why there was like such a disconnect. And I found like explaining to my fiance, who's a well-meaning man that doesn't rape anyone.
I mean, beware the liberal man.
That I know,
right?
But I was like, I realized, I was like, oh, there's a lot of stuff you just don't know.
Yeah. And instead of making people defensive and being like, "You fucking idiot," you like,
that's not helpful.
You just
not
have
helpful.
to be willing to listen and
That's
open
right.
to knowing what you don't know.
And if you
as a white woman, there's so much fucking shit I don't know, and I need to learn.
Yeah. And I need to be able to ask questions without incurring your emotional labor.
And I need to be able to be told things that maybe some things that I'm doing that aren't appropriate or aren't right or are insulting, and take it in and go, "Oh fuck."
Majorly. And it was educational for me, because I was like, oh, he's got all these blind spots. And then I was like, oh, I must also, I must also. Yeah. But it was just sort of like a tall white man moving through the world as safe as you can get.
Well, when you were saying in your special, and we'll talk about
because
this,
he would say we were in New York for a while, and he'd be like, all right, well,
when you were saying,
you
like,
head home, and I'm like, no, I'm not walking home.
Like if
alone.
I'm going to my car, like when you were doing that in your special about like he doesn't have to worry about going to his car, and then you're like, well, we walk you home, and it's like, yeah, but now I have to worry about you raping me.
Now
when
you're walking me home. That's like, a whole other nightmare.
Like now I have to like, or walking by my car. Like, okay, now I have to worry about what are you going to do to me? Now you want payback.
And now I have two people that want to fuck me. Like,
and I always think about that with my husband. I was like, God, you never have to worry about jogging. I can't go out into like
we don't know. They jog.
Canyon.
We run.
Yes,
because we're always running from
I was
something.
Like, you never think about. Anytime I'm alone in a parking structure, even in the middle of the day, I'm terrified. I've run to my car. My car where people are like, why is this woman running?
I had the craziest thing happen the other day outside the E Entertainment building. I was leaving there. It was at night, my car, and there was like a guy staring at me, and I literally didn't know what to do. I picked up my phone and I put the flashlight on and just held it in his face. Yeah. And he was,
I see you, buddy.
Yeah, I didn't even know what he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Are you?" Like, it was this weird.
Are you?
It was 2 nights ago, It was like in a
I'm terrified all the time, and men don't have to be terrified. And
See, I never grew up with common sense, so I'm not terrified ever. Like, my parents didn't provide me with a sense of danger or common sense, so I'm just like, we'll be good. I'll be good.
No, I'm constantly afraid. Even as a kid, I was always like, like if there was a guy trailing us in his car, I was with my friend, I remember, and I was like, we should, let's back up this way. She's like, it's fine. I'm like, it's not fine. And then he ended up pulling out his dick. And it's like, here we are, 12. It's like, but I have an instinct where I was like, ooh, someone's going to pull out their dick, like all the time.
And you got the comedy?
Yes.
Perfect.
I know, right? And people constantly do pull out their guys.
You were ready.
And as you were saying in your special, like that guy Jeff has got to pull out his dick.
Just seen so many dicks in my day that we're not
asked
on
for.
the schedule.
Yes.
I also like in your podcast how you do kind of say, which I think is so right. It's like we are in this time where we can't. It's like we almost can't say anything, but there are still like people of all cultures and genders that are not up to great stuff.
Yes,
like it's just true.
Yes.
You know, even women like my friend's aunt, who I spend every Christmas with, posted something on Facebook I truly could not believe in the midst of the Me Too movement. She just said, guys, I need to get something off my chest. And I just glanced down and I saw #Me Too and I was like, you believe? Because she's such a narcissist. And she's like, while all these stories are coming out and it's wonderful that people are kind of opening up, she's like, it's also hard for those of us that have not had an incident.
Honestly, I changed the special so many times, and a lot of the stuff that's in it, I rewrote 2 months before. I even moved it 4 months because I realized so many things. I was going on the road. I was going outside New York and LA.
I was wondering how you practiced.
I did 43 cities that were not New York and LA because I was so worried. Is this just a New York and LA thing? Because I would go places and they'd be like, this is kind of a rich white woman thing. That, I went to the Women's March. It was very white. I was kind of like, what is this? And how are because there's parts of the country that do not read this news, do not care. I was touring and people are like, what happened to Roseanne? Why isn't she on anymore? I was like, did you not hear about that? We're so...
And then you tell them and they're like, that's cool.
And they're like, yeah, what's your point?
Yeah. And they pulled her why?
I'm always worried about when are we in the echo chamber? When are we preaching to the choir? Anyway, so I'm touring with talking about sexual harassment, and I feel like I try to be very fair about it. And I was talking about a guy grabbing my ass at work or something, and this woman yelled out from the audience. This older woman just went, take the compliment and move on.
Oh my God.
The woman came up to me afterwards and was like, you're going to miss it when it stops.
And it's like, no, I promise you I won't.
And I was like, you know what? I don't have to agree with these point of view. There are other point of views. And then I went to Vegas, and the women in Vegas, showgirls, because I did a Monday show, which is normally the employees, and that's because that's their night off. And all these showgirls were like, if Me Too comes to Vegas, we don't have a job.
Right.
I have friends who are waitresses who are like, we flirt for tips. This is the only power we have. And you're going to take that from us. It is
different point of view.
It is what it is. But I was just like, oh my God, there's so many points of view on this. And I really just wanted to.
And in some ways, being able to speak out about it and take a stand is because we're lucky to be able to.
That's right.
That's right. That's its own form of entitlement, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just that's our viewpoint immediately. But then it's there's other viewpoints because other people, that's their option.
That's right. That's right.
Which that's God bless.
Right.
Fucking working harder than we are.
That's right. So I just kind of was like, I just want to make sure that this doesn't feel like a preachy inside Hollywood take.
It really did not.
No.
Which I think is smart because there's times where I'm like, I get why the country hates liberal Hollywood. It's disgusting sometimes. I get it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does feel overwhelming. Times are changing.
That's what I mean.
Right.
The self-righteousness, not obviously the values.
Also, times are changing, and they're changing faster than people keep up with, and they feel left behind.
Yeah.
So I think then there's that defensive thing. It's like, what am I supposed to call men and woman? And
we can't flirt anymore?
Yeah, people. And so it's like, okay, well, how do we not alienate people, but also let them know that times are changing, and that's a good thing. Times changed 100 years ago too, and where we are now because of times changing. There's still tons of work to do, but people don't like change. They don't like to be wrong. It's so scary, and I get it too. Times I'm an old lady now. You know what I mean? The kids are all listening. I know when I see I don't know what it is.
When I see the young kids with this thing of body positivity, I've had to say those words together in my head,
body
positivity. It's
That's
now what are we? Now what are we now saying? And I'm so envious and am trying to get there myself, and also have been trying to make something for myself, which is I'm not going to be self-deprecating about my body out loud to people because it's almost like a tick for me.
Mm-hmm. But also young people show off their body in a way, and I'm always we're always the way we were taught it was you don't have to show off your body on stage. That's distracting from your humor.
That's right.
But now it's no. I'm in control. Like,
That's right.
and they've turned it around, and they're like, I can do whatever the fuck I want with their body. And if they can't hear what's listening to my voice, it's all part of me. And I'm like, wait, what?
I'm
We can't
never
like,
looking at a woman and judging. It's literally my eyes are always on myself. Like any woman I see, I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
I just, though, I am, and this is maybe not a hot take, but I'm in this moment where I'm a little bit like, I'm allowed to be insecure. Okay,
Always a step ahead.
It's taken
Okay.
it's taken me so long to get to this point. I'm now not going to be shamed by the anti-shamers into being further along than I am. So that's if I'm not as body positive as you are, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend that I am at a place that I'm not at.
Yeah.
So I'm a little, and it was like a little bit around the sexual harassment stuff. It's like, I definitely had stories. I've definitely had nightmares like we all had, but I was like, I'm not going to tweet about my abuser.
you don't have to.
He's still alive, and I don't want to incur that. I don't want more, so I think it's also important that everyone gets to decide when they participate in what.
Now, can we talk about an article that my dad's friend sent me about
Your dad,
yesterday?
you mean
Paul Wilson.
your dad who is my keychain?
Yes, thank you. I made keychains of my father's 6-foot portrait he made for me for Christmas for the wedding and gave them to everyone. And I am so
My
appreciative.
cleaning lady has one. I mean, it's
I'm
really
so
a
appreciative. I'm so appreciative.
big part of my life.
But my dad's friend, Steve, sent me an article about what's going on Instagram with you, with these people who are someone was trying to extort money from you.
Yeah, it's so weird. It was so.
And feel free not to answer any of
No,
this.
please. I'm happy to. I think it's. I learned so much about it because I think we should all be talking about this way, 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 way more. Not for someone like me, but for younger women who aren't comics, who don't have a platform. Which it's like I was able to basically post the photo to take their bargaining chip off the table. Like it just made me so sick for the people that don't have that or who can't handle it with levity or I'm a comedian. I humiliate myself on a daily basis.
Like this is not the most embarrassing thing that
It
I'll
was so funny
say.
that they tried to. I was like, oh, this is.
clearly
They
don't know
they're
me.
messing
It's like,
with.
this is not the ATM machine you thought you were walking into.
I know that you were like, okay, click.
Bitch, that money's going to horses.
I did want to delay it because I didn't want it coming out the same time as my special because I didn't want it to look like I don't know. It just felt like a weird and there just had been
Like, I'll slow play 'em.
shooting. Yeah, what's that?
Slow play them.
Yeah, I kind of totally. And so I mean, this has happened over the years. Like I've had, people come at me and say like, we have your clout. If you just give us, $50 grand, we won't. And
Which is terrifying.
It's always a game of chicken because you don't know what they have. And you go, okay, well, what do you have? Like, and then you're bargaining with these, you don't know where they are. That's the other main thing.
How do they come at you from?
They come at you they'll email you, they'll DM
fake
you.
account.
A lawyer will say, hey, we got this thing, or they'll go, we just got an offer to sell this to the Fappening or whatever.
You're like, I'm glad I have an offer. But
and I'm like, what is it?
yeah.
I mean, I am
Is it higher than my Cameo quote?
I am Tech Avail.
Yes.
And I know I'm always like, do I get a cut? Or
Yeah, where are
do you want
we?
me to take some better ones? I feel like I could get the lighting on this really nail it, get some body shimmer. So I know because I did. I'm not even joking, and I'm not proud of this. But when the big leak happened a couple years ago of all those actresses, I was like, really? Okay. Whatever. Mine are just not.
Well, my computer got hacked within that, and then I quickly realized, because they're trying to get in my computer to
That's right.
bigger people,
That's
Leapfrog. But I had a video on there that was, I was terrified, and this guy had told me he deleted it. His computer was also hacked, and so
Wait, someone that had it also?
Yes,
Oh, the person you were maybe.
I had sent it to.
Yep.
And he's like, I deleted it. And I don't even blame him. It just was what it was.
Yes.
And I was both. I've never been in such a state of terror, and also then where is it? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I
have
did
to
call
leak it
June.
myself?
June will never forget this. I was hysterically crying. I'm like, I made this video, but it is a good video. He was like,
Here's the thing.
that's the only thing I had to fall back on mentally because I was like, my life's over.
But which is, by the way, it's awful and it's fucking violating and sickening. Everyone is fine that went through that. Like for some reason.
But it is such a form of abuse. It's the most psychological warfare.
Correct. And I mean, not everyone's fine. I just mean it doesn't seem like my friends that went through it lost jobs.
I refuse to look at those pictures, and I really urge everyone, if you hear it, to look is to support all.
Don't
of this.
look. That's
You
the other
cannot.
thing. And that's the other thing. It was so hard with social media because people kept saying,
Clicking.
this happened to so-and-so, this happened to so-and-so. And I was like, stop. I didn't want to. Everyone's like, why aren't you tweeting about this person that it happened to and this person?
Because I don't want to kick it up.
And then I'm like, well, then people are going to start Googling it and then it becomes more lucrative and more people do it. So
I will say that when someone did have a picture of John's Ham's penis in his pants.
Well, those are just his basketball shorts.
Screensaver.
I had to. What am I not going to click on?
I feel he could do something about that if he wanted to. It's happened many times.
I've clicked every time. It's happened.
As have I.
I feel like, and I'm not even joking because it was like, okay, this was going to happen. It was not a photo I sent to a lover.
Yeah, it was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
It was a mistake. I was not wearing makeup. I was in the bathtub. It looks like a home birth. Like, it's not a good video. It's not a good picture. Like, that's the biggest bummer about it. It's like, why couldn't this have been like the thing I sent to my crush where I had like good lighting and dog ears and looked cute?
Well, that's what I want to say to young girls is don't send these to your crush because they get out in the world and then you get like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm saying like in middle school and high school and where it seems like it does like some actual, we're old enough.
Think of the things that we did when we were 15. Imagine if they were the singing to Paula Abdul in the mirror. Like, had we had YouTube and photos.
Oh, I always think about if I'd
God.
had YouTube, me singing Les Mis, thinking I was killing
cringing. Yikes. So many yikes. So it was the kind of thing where it was like, you can hire these security companies, you can hire these lawyers to send the cease and desist letters, and it's like finding out because extortion's illegal in 30 states, but you don't know what state they're in, and then you have to track them, so you have to hire someone to track them and do a threat assessment, and then you're like, if I put this out, are they going to come kill me? Do that? It's just like so many logistics, and it takes up so much real estate in your brain, and I was just like, I think I was put on earth to do bigger things than like play chicken with these fucking people, and the more that you're engaging with them, the more seriously they take them. So I was just like, all I knew how to do was just like take the bargaining chip off the table. And I was like, I'd rather be embarrassed for a couple days.
Did they email you after you took the bargaining chip off the table?
I have a security person who deals with all of it. And he comes, the boundary, speaking of our boundaries, is you only come to me if it's serious.
Yeah, like I don't need to know all the goings on.
I don't need to know the machinations of a crazy person and whatever. So it does very much feel like the new normal. And of course, whenever someone tries to make you feel better, they make you feel worse by accident. When it comes to this kind of stuff, the security person was like, "Oh no, this isn't that bad. The thing to worry about are the deep fakes, where they can now put your face on any porn star whenever they want, and they're going to start doing this to young girls." And I'm like, okay, now I'm way more upset than I was. Earlier, but thank you so much.
Because it's like you know yourself and what you can handle, but like some young girl.
That's all I could think about. So I was like, if I put this out, maybe there'll be a conversation about it, or at least I can try. I'm going to try to talk about it in my next special, just about the laws that are available, the laws that aren't, because it takes a lot of time and money to make this stuff go away.
Well, I like that your stand-up. I do think it's like morphed over the years, and you've always been like a political person who's like
really?
I think so. Yes,
like politics.
No, just like political in terms of like
sexual, topical things that are.
I try to work.
Media.
I work so hard to never talk about like.
Oh,
politics.
no. I do not mean that. You do not go there at all. I just mean like your point of view is always out there in terms of like mainly like some of your specials have been about sex and kind of like dating. I mean for more of that perspective.
Yeah. Oh, got it. Yeah.
And in this one, it's just it's such a great special. It is. I love it so much, and it's available now. It's on Netflix.
As Andy Cohen accidentally said the other night on his show, Whitney Cummings now screaming on Netflix.
There are no accidents.
Said it by accident. Don't know if it was an accident. Most genius.
But it's
flub ever.
One of my again, as Marianne Williamson says, there are no accidents. And Oprah
only miracles.
Yeah, only miracles.
My favorite joke personally was I don't want to give things away for people.
Is it bad to give a joke away?
No,
because it's long and you're. There's a lot. I don't mean it's long. There's a lot of jokes. It's fucking long as hell.
You're screaming for so long.
Yeah. Now screaming for an hour on Netflix.
But one of my favorites was when you talk about the dog vest that we need to put on women. I just related to that. We've all been there, and how you talk about how like the only thing you can relate to is guys going like when you see like a helper dog or like one of those medical dogs who's like, oh no, they're working right now. So as much as you love dogs and they're so cute and they're so and you just want to touch them and squeeze them and love them, and you're like, oh, but it's in the airport and it's helping someone right now. It's working. It's a working dog.
I know it's tempting, and I think that I was so worried about doing this joke, and I
loved it.
I have in my head now, like, okay, this is what this blogger is going to say. This is what this critic's going to say. This is what, like, you have that in your head now as a comedian. We're like, oh, people are going to think I'm comparing women to dogs.
No.
It's hilarious.
The nuance is like gone.
I loved it.
I just know so many guys where I would either go into the Comedy Store or go into a work thing where they're like, hugging, it's like it is what it is, and it's all context. I'm always like, just read the room. I just put my hand out to try to get ahead of it now. We pound it out. But I think it's like there are some well-meaning guys I know who are just like, oh, we're not hugging, or why they can't understand why the hugging is not our favorite at work. And I just wanted to have that
Yeah, and you
conversation.
basically said women should be wearing those
working
vests.
dog
That's
vests.
Just not now.
Not now.
Then I
Okay.
have to-
My favorite was when you're talking about just things women need to stop saying, which is just killing me. You're like, stop saying totes. And I'm paraphrasing this, but like you're in your 40s. That's
Slay
just-
could go.
Slay could go. And then like I personally hate, and you didn't mention someone just throwing it out when people call me mama. Like all the nicknames.
Mama.
Chica was replaced with Mama. I feel like
Chica was tough.
Chica was a rough couple years.
I don't
Stop
like
calling us these little.
Why do we? I just thought it was interesting that it was like, I found myself so enraged with what guys call women sweetie honey and then I was like, we call ourselves hookers and whores.
Yes. And then you said like you hate when people call like men a boss. Like and someone you said walked in and said, "What up, boss?" to one of your interns. And I'm butchering this a bit, but you were like, "That's not a boss. That's my friend's nephew who was too stupid to get a job. That's nobody's boss. I'm the boss."
It was amazing. People go, "What up, boss? What up, champ?" I'm like, they are like,
That's no champ.
Men build each other up.
Yes.
This is amazing. We're like, "What's up, whore?" It's like, Jesus.
Jeez.
when my Starbucks barista, he called me honey, I almost lost my shit.
I don't know about that.
I was like, you don't know me.
too comfortable.
hon.
We've all got. Ooh. Got
A
too
Starbucks
comfortable.
barista just got on me because I was brushing my hair over the coffee station.
That tracks.
And, she said you're getting hair into the cup.
Oh, that's a rough
So
road.
everyone has dealings, there.
How busy are you?
I'm
you
multitasking
are
in a way
just
that's
back to back.
crazy.
You are never not doing 7 things. at
Never
once.
not
I know, but
publicly
so are
grooming.
you. I have no problem with that. I pee in my car openly.
No, every time I see you, there's like a circle of dry shampoo. I'm like, just brush it out. Like the fact that you're brushing your hair is great.
She told me to stop.
Yeah, okay. I remember we were like at a taping, and I was like, Casey's gone gray real early. And it was like one spot, and it was just like sink, like no bother to shake it out.
She's like, shake it out.
You have to just shake it
Yeah,
out.
like I'm busy.
There are the people that are taller than you that see this are
The person I hired to shake it out for me was today.
was she?
you and June in the dry shampoo game.
Oh, I dry shampooed it away today.
Look,
like it.
you know.
I don't. I'm old school.
Now,
but-
Whitney,
You have a nice thick head of hair. You don't
I
need dry
don't.
shampoo.
I'm balding.
What?
I have a rat tail. Like
You have
hang out.
I see a thick head of hair
That's
and a
very
gorgeous,
lucky.
a perfect hairline.
I do. I started with the spray out the gray spray.
I mean that.
I mean-
I know
I just
that one.
dye it.
I didn't do it. See, I do that when I don't have time, but I noticed you can't. You got to watch putting your hand on your forehead and then
Gotta be
rubbing it.
careful.
I fully was like on a talk show covered in brown soot.
Gotta be
No.
careful with that. Now
You
that I
really-
know.
You also have a
Stacey.
beautiful hairline. As someone with 17 cowlicks, your hairline is
you have
like
a
I
nice
can't keep my
hairline.
eye off of
That's
it.
really nice.
And can I ask your skin regimen real quick
Sure,
to run
love-
through it with
sure.
our
I love
listeners
it.
will
I'm
love.
very broken out at the moment, but
Don't look it.
Give us a quick rundown.
I just do think it's important that everyone knows I'm starting to stutter. That I was on Accutane twice. Went on Accutane twice, which I don't
As
even
an
know.
adult or a
as
teenager?
Once at 16, once at 21.
Okay, and it helped?
Accutane. Well, as they say, it gets worse before it gets better. Your face starts to flake off, and anal bleeding is not abnormal. But it was worth it.
How does
You've
it
always
like?
been tenacious.
Does your wait?
Always.
Can I ask this about the anal bleeding?
Yes, sir.
Does your ass just start to pee blood? What is it?
Is it a slow trickle?
I didn't have a front row seat to it, but from what it felt like, just more
The flaking, more flaking,
more
and bleeding.
flaky, more raw, like spontaneous, just random squirts
Okay.
of
Got it.
blood, but not like from my. I'm not like shitting blood.
Yeah, that's what
that
I
wasn't
guess.
my experience.
Okay.
can
but
only speak for yourself.
I mean, this is a product that is like linked to suicidal thoughts. I mean, this
Yes.
is not a popular.
If you are
not a
pregnant when you
retinol.
have Accutane, because I remember a friend of mine was like, she couldn't. She
No,
got
I had to go on
pregnant
birth control.
Yeah,
you have to
because-
legally be on birth control
Yeah.
simultaneously because of possible birth defects.
Yeah.
But you're like, I'll slather on my
No,
face.
literally, they give you a list of things: suicidal thoughts, anal bleeding, deformity.
You're like, worth it.
Sign me up.
Yes.
My self-esteem has such a linear relation with my skin that I was adding to cart. I What do I do? Okay, so I do a derma roller, which
Is that the quartz thing?
It's that is nothing.
With
That's
rose
bunk.
quartz
That's
is not a
nothing.
thing? Because
That
I
is
saw
nothing.
Courtney Cox at a dinner the other day online in a picture, just literally having a conversation
That's like me with my
jade
brush.
rolling.
She has amazing skin. It's good for lymphatic drainage, like if you get swollen or puffy. But I am finally at the point where I don't spend money on products from QVC that do nothing.
I'm happy to hear that.
Just got here.
Okay, so derma roller.
Derma roller, which you can get for $5 on Amazon, and it has little tiny holes in it because apparently our product doesn't really soak into our skin because of all the dead skin cells on top. So it's a little derma roller. It pokes tiny little holes in your
Do
skin.
you exfoliate as well?
I do with a glove that is kind of a coarse glove.
Coarse glove.
Like it's like a you can get.
I think you just have someone with eczema put their hands on you.
It's a glove. You can get them on Amazon. They're like 2 cents. It's a exfoliator like glove.
Okay.
But make sure to throw it away every couple days because it gets.
And you put product on that?
I just wash my face with that.
With the glove, with
and
the
I
derma
don't use
glove.
face wash. I exfoliate, but I never use face wash. Like I slather my face with oil. So I wash my face with oil.
Because your skin has a glow. Is that the oil?
That's very kind.
You don't use a face
Or
wash.
is that the
Use face
Al-Anon?
wash. I don't wash my. That is step 12.
This is rocking my. This is rocking my world.
My higher power. I do not use because this is just for my skin personally. They say that if your skin dries out, your skin starts producing more oil to compensate. So the more moist your face is all the time, the less oil it actually produces.
Got it.
So the way that I stopped breaking out was to put more oil on my skin, which makes it sounds like it makes absolutely no sense.
Counterintuitive.
And totally counterintuitive, and very tenacious. But putting oil on my skin all the time helped my skin stop producing oil. And
Now
I
throw
stopped
out
getting
some brands on the
I
oil.
stopped getting cystic. So many. So the most important one, which I'm so annoyed I'm talking about it because it always sells out and I hoard it. It's called Source Natural Skin Eternal Serum. You can get it at Whole Foods or on Amazon. It is $23. Have you read The Wrinkle Cure by Dr. Perricone?
no.
No. I haven't gotten into Dr.
in
P.
your cart.
Okay.
So Doc P, it is ester C, DMAE, and alpha lipoic acid, which are the 3 things that are the best for the skin. He's got his own brand, which I find a little expensive unless you want to send us all free things of it. So this is like when I started using this on my skin, people started like stopping me on the street and complimenting me on it. It's just changed my skin. So I do that.
I'm running to Whole Foods.
I'm going to
I
send
have-
us an email with all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll do a whole
information.
breakdown. So I do that afterwards, and then I do a cream called Valamont, which is a little more expensive, but it's like very, very nourishing. And then Liz Earle does a super skin serum, which I love, which is a bunch of and then I also do. I mean, it's a lot.
I'm
It's-
dying.
No, but I appreciate
Yeah.
that because you have great skin, and people
That's
have
very
asked
kind.
me as your friend, "What are
Really?
you up to?"
That's
Yes.
so because I feel like it's a disaster.
No, not at all.
I
But
needed
then
to get to it.
But then I also do, there's like an illuminator that I mix with my foundation because I don't think it's my skin. I think it's the shit I put on it. And it is Josie Moran.
Love it. Yes, she's got good
She's
products.
got great products. She's first of all got
Natural.
she's got a great nail polish remover that's all natural, which is great. A lot of argan oil stuff, but she's got a great illuminator that I mix with my foundation.
Wow.
And then put
What's
on
your foundation?
illuminator.
It's the foundation. I'm between foundations. It's actually been a big
sorry.
deal, which is part of the reason I'm breaking
It's
out.
complicated.
Yeah, I used to do Clé de Peau, but now I'm doing this new brand called Hourglass because it's cruelty free and it's like vegan and isn't full of trash.
Yeah. Well, you look amazing. For our last topic, if we could just transition briefly to the
Please.
Housewives. What are your thoughts? Because obviously we're having you on a special episode because you seem to have dignity and are not as immersed in this world of garbage
But
that
here's
we are.
I identify as an addict. Like I just went on
Through and through.
and if I get into something, it becomes my
Yeah.
higher power
Look,
in my life.
Look,
They are.
No, I know. Here you are. Yeah.
They are my higher.
If I watched it,
I've turned my life over to them. I'm powerless
I
to them.
surrendered. If I really dug deep into the Housewives, we'd have competing podcasts. Like we would,
Yeah,
be
you wouldn't
friends,
come back.
We'd be enemies. Like it would be. But I did. Like I just went on Andy Cohen's show and I watched like Southern Charm. Someone from Southern Charm is on, and
Who?
Austin. Mine's gonna be Shep.
Sorry.
I've got a video of this.
You got a more boring
You guys, their
gentleman.
reactions are just incredible. I got so addicted to. I'm just obsessed. I want to talk to the editors.
oh, those
So we've gotten to
that's
the
all
editors.
we
We've
want.
gotten to the producers of Southern Charm. I've spoken
Yes.
to an editor directly.
Because they steal audio. It's very.
It's amazing.
Someone will be like,
artists.
not even turned, and they're like, "What are you thinking right now?" Like they throw a line into their mouth.
They
don't
are
give a
artists.
fuck.
The editors are the genius.
Artistes.
It is wild the way they craft these shows. shows. And
that show is like a 1 in terms of just
they are
sheer level compared to a Housewives, but I'm still interested.
It's just hypnotic to me. And so I watched all of them in a day. I couldn't stop. Didn't eat, didn't pee. Like I have to be like, go pee.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm in the Roxanne Gay camp. You've had her on. I'm obsessed of like Housewives is we should, when people are like, every type of woman should exist. And to me, there is nothing more triumphant than a wife. And nothing makes me happier than a woman making it in their 50s.
Yes.
The Rodney Dangerfield.
And while we say making it, they're not. But at the same time, like, I love that we're watching a show with, if you're 50, you're too young.
Yeah, we're like,
get the fuck off my screen.
Yes, this is the only way that women over 40 can be on television.
I'll take
it.
Or give me bus.
When they give us a housewife that's 35, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
No one wants to see this. I really had to get into the Housewife. My way in was odd. And it's not that I wasn't watching it because I was better than or any of that. I just didn't have time.
Yeah, of course.
And I always I feel like in our job, so we have to watch so much homework television. Yes. So you go home and I'm like, I guess I have to watch Game of Thrones. I guess like because
we've managed to ruin our love by getting paid for it.
Yeah. So I just am like, I got a dog like 5 years ago and named her Ramona.
Right.
Just for like, she just was a Ramona. Yes. And I would take her to the dog park and people like, oh my God, she's such a Ramona.
You're like, I'm going off of like the book.
And I was like,
Beverly Cleary.
You're like Ramona Quimby?
So everyone was like, oh my God, she's so much like Ramona. Like her eyes are exactly like Ramona's eyes. Like, it's like so everyone thought
people are like putting things on her.
Projecting and like having conversations with me about Ramona. And so I was like, oh, I need to know who I accidentally named my dog after. Yeah. So then I got into it, and Ramona obviously is my favorite because of that weird coincidence, but that's kind of how I got in. And
what a way in.
Yeah. And
what a way in.
What a way in. And then I would go on Andy Cohen's show and I would watch the episode he would tell me to watch. Yeah. And I made the grave mistake of just being like, oh, I'm going to make some jokes. I'm a comedian. That's what we do. I was like doing the roast at the time, and I was on, I don't remember who I was on with when I did this, but I made a joke. Look, he's so good at getting spontaneous, great clickbait moments. And he was like throwing out Housewives, and I was just doing like roast jokes about them. Yeah. And they all took it pretty well. And I did one about Brandy
Glanville.
I always want to say Gran. It's Glan. And just like implying that she might be nuts. Yeah. And she
shot in the dark.
She came for me.
Oh yeah, she ain't gonna mess.
Came for me.
What did she say?
Of all the Housewives, do you feel she's the most
unhinged
for someone? That's what. Okay, because I felt bad because I was in this like because
we have said things that are so unbelievable, and if anything, they're like, hey, girl. Like they just like the Housewives are a brand that they just want to be talked about, and most of them get it. Like the fun of it. But only Tamara Barney came for us once, but.
But I was like, I'm totally joking. This joke
around.
Could have worked for any of them. This was an interchangeable joke that wasn't even personal. And
now I did see that there was the word alcoholic thrown around.
That's right.
But that's also not personal for them.
No.
That's all of them.
And that's not even an insult at this point.
No.
Most of my friends are alcoholics.
It's like you want to have fun.
I love alcoholics.
Yeah. And also when you go on the Housewives, and they do drink a lot on the Housewives, as you are encouraged, you are given so much free alcohol. Like a lot of them do seem the way that they are as alcoholics. So if you are going on Housewives show and drinking a lot, people are going to say you're alcoholic, and you just kind of have to get cool with it.
Yeah, and it was like a joke.
She's truly unhinged.
But so she came for me, and then I was like, no more Housewives jokes. This is stressful.
You actually like stumbled into like a booby trap.
I walked into a hornet's nest on that one.
Yeah, I think, and Brandy will come for you, and if people come for Lisa Vanderpump, her fans will come for you.
Lisa and I are very similar. People,
I can see you're both queens.
We get up. We just
you love dogs
and swans, and no, I actually don't. I don't get birds. But we have done lots of like charity things together, and it's so wild because it's like I don't know what this is. Maybe it's our internalized misogyny or competition thing, or the fact that I have like judgment / jealousy around someone who's really put together and glamorous because that's not who I am. And every time I see her, I have this little voice in my head that's like, ugh, and then I'm like. Obsessed with her. Mm-hmm. She is so kind.
Hypnotic.
She's hypnotic and she's kind and she knows who she is and she knows what she's doing and she's kind of my hero.
Yeah, no, some of them they deserve to be, and I don't know where it is they are, but they deserve to be.
I love
there.
the hustle. And Bethany Frankel, big fan.
I mean, you've got some similarities to Bethany. Hustle, tenacity.
Agree.
Yeah.
I love Bethany.
I love Bethany. And I remember I was doing a TV show and I was like trying to figure out a way to have her on this TV show. And then she sent me Skinny Girl margaritas. We went through that.
Yeah.
I feel like
She sent me a ton, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And she came up to me at a restaurant in New York once, and I saw her walk by, and I was like, just don't say it. Like, I get weird.
you get nervous.
You get more nervous around people that are
Reality stars. 100%.
What is that?
I could truly see Meryl Streep and be like, okay.
Hey,
but if I
big
saw
fan.
Phaedra Parks, I'd like throw the table.
Well, because you've also seen them and you know they can fight.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, because I watch so much of them.
Yeah.
And I'm so like obsessed with them, even if they're monsters.
Yeah.
Like seeing them out in public is like too much for me to bear.
It really is normal celebrities. You also they're used to this. They were child stars. Like they're good. They're actors. They know how to act. Like they're having a good conversation. Like you never know what you're gonna get with a reality star. And but anyway, so I watched her walk by, just totally ignored her, was staring at her, and finally she saw me and she came up to me and she's like, "Hey, Bethany," and I was like, "Oh my God, hi!" And she goes, "You like love me, right?"
Oh my God. But that's them in a nutshell. You like love me, right?
She's like, "You like love me, right?" Like she had heard that I love.
I love that she would
What
say
a
that.
great opener.
Like no
Just like-
false humility. Like, hi, I'm Bethany. Like she's pretending you don't know. me.
I learn a lot from these women because
Yeah.
we self-deprecate for a living and we minimize
That's
ourselves.
one thing they won't ever do. You won't see one of them because they're so
I
unself-aware.
would teach a class. I will take it.
Yeah.
Write a book. I will read it.
Like I have never seen Nene Leakes say anything
You
self-deprecating.
think Lisa Rinna is talk about hustler? Lisa
Yeah,
Rinna.
she's a
Love Lisa.
hustler.
My father-in-law went to college with her husband.
No,
and
with Harry Hamlin?
We basically had Thanksgiving together this year. We were
That's
sitting.
what?
Yeah, we were sitting. Like I love like Lisa Rinna and I. We will always be cool because she, like me, goes to a restaurant on Thanksgiving. I went to.
Wow, that was most silence. I'm just trying to process that.
There are two types of people in the world.
Okay, my breath is like caught. I'm like, okay.
I did it once and it was the loneliest.
It's heartbreaking, but I'd rather feel lonely and sad and like I'm buying joy than do dishes. And so
I'm now celebrating it.
I
It
go
just
to
took me a
fancy
second.
hotels for Thanksgiving. That's
a
who I am.
great idea.
I don't pretend.
No.
You have Thanksgivings. I've heard about them.
Yeah.
I think I was invited to one. I didn't understand what was happening.
You were like, it's in your home?
I was like, I just don't. That sounds like.
Is there a waiter?
We did bring in staff.
But you're not enjoying it. Like it's just you're watching someone be bummed out that people are wearing shoes in their house. Like it's just no one wants it. It's so anyway, we go to this like fancy, like weird hotel that you've driven by 50 times but have never gone inside.
Yeah.
Like this
Like the Sofitel.
something like that. It was like the Beverly Hills Andaz or like
wow. Yeah.
it was like
Not
something,
the usual haunts.
So a place you'd only go if you had like credit card points.
Yeah.
And so I go and we're the only people in this restaurant. It's like a bunch of tourists.
You're
like,
serving yourself.
Yeah, like Germans and I'm having like salmon. Like it's not a
boy.
thing.
It's
not even a turkey
No,
leg.
it's not a
And
Thanksgiving
your
moment.
fiance's there and his family?
Yes, and then I'm sitting, and then I see Lisa, who I know, and her daughter, and
Delilah?
who is gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, she's walking up and down like a cat. It's unbelievable. And then my fiance's husband is like, "Oh, I've went to college with her husband," and I'm like, "No, he didn't." I'm just thinking like, you can't go talk to them.
Right.
Like my father-in-law is going to go talk to a celebrity. I'm like, this can't happen.
Yeah.
He's like
Yeah.
in from Kentucky. I'm like, this is bad. This is going to go poorly. He's misremembering this.
Sure.
He wants to talk to a famous person. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Sure enough, walks over. Lisa Rinna's husband's like, "Hey, man!" Like they went to a Rolling Stones concert together. It was so sweet because Lisa had not heard a lot of this information about her own husband in college and was like truly like listening and like, "Oh my God,
They seem to have a real love.
it is real."
Yeah.
I love her. I love Lisa.
Spying on them
Yeah.
during my
What did you get?
Thanksgiving. They truly love each other, listening to each other, flirting.
Because you're really seeing them on Thanksgiving. Like
That's
you're
right.
getting.
No spying.
No cameras,
I'm seeing
no
them on a
cameras.
yeah, there's no cameras around. Their connection is so real and charming and endearing. It's like sexy and flirty, and they're like across the table. I
love
was
it.
inspired. I'm into
inspired.
it. I have so many questions about her body, but that's for another day.
Well, June Diane's already plumbed the depths of that.
oh
on our
really?
last
She's
podcast.
taken a deep dive on it.
She went
It's
after
something.
it.
It's really something.
Yeah, she went after it. Well, it sounds like your father-in-law is a very sweet guy, except for the trauma he caused his son on Christmas.
It really, when someone who's not famous, who's in your life, wants to talk to a famous person, you kind of know.
I'll never forget when my father went up to Demi Moore. Okay. Anyway.
Have you told this story on the podcast?
No, it was
real
just
quick,
so
just real quick,
upsetting.
Real
like
quick.
I did Killers. You're welcome. A great movie with Ashton Kutcher and Katherine Heigl, and we're at the premiere.
That was not a bad movie. Don't do that.
I know,
That was
this is not
and
being
that was a big
self-deprecating
deal at the time.
I know, and I'm not being
It's
self-deprecating.
embarrassing now.
Yes.
But it was a big deal at the time.
But I can't even tell you where my head was with that movie. Like what I was doing in it is just wild. It's not self-deprecating. I just look back and I'm like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
But so we're at the premiere and my dad sees Demi Moore, and before I can even I'm like settling my eyes. Like, is that Demi Moore? There he goes. Because when I was on SNL,
your dad's just unbridled.
My
He can't be
publicist said
contained.
the other day. I said to my publicist something about this film I made about my dad. And she goes, we haven't heard from Paul in a while. And I said, excuse me? And she's like, oh yeah, Paul calls a lot. Just like if he saw a photo in a magazine, he wants us to like call the photographer and get it. I just was like, I don't know how he had the info.
Did he wear a cowboy hat at your rehearsal dinner?
Of course. Of course.
I thought that's what I was
Of course
seeing.
he did. He also had a self-tanner and he got gel nails.
He got gel nails.
He gets gel nails clear. And I don't mean this as any joke. I'm like, is he transitioning? I'm not sure because he got the perm. I don't know what to say. He gets clear gel nails.
When did you learn about that?
Shortly after he got remarried, I just started noticing. I was like, what's happening? He's like, I don't bite them because I get clear ones. I'm like, I wonder if they could even do a buff gel because they sparkle, which is fine. Again, it's just different to see on your father.
You seem jealous.
I am. He takes care of himself.
That's a real, that's,
and the tan never goes quite up to the hairline. Okay, and he's become an avid urban floater, which is those people who like.
Wait, what's an urban floater?
You go in like a deprivation tank and float in salt water.
What?
Your dad sounds like he's living his best life.
I mean, I told Danielle he's now signing emails with a new sign off. He writes Daddy-O.
His, her, him, her.
Yes.
No!
His.
No! That was a guess.
He did
That
it.
was a joke.
He, his, him.
Casey, I was joking when
No,
I said that.
he did this.
That's you're yes-anding me. Don't.
No,
This is
joking.
not the I.O. That was a very inside joke, everyone. I'm sorry. Improv Olympics.
This is true. She sent it to me.
But
and she
is
was
this
like,
him trying to seem young? Or
Yes.
trying to undo the nail polish? It's him?
Daddy-O, he, his, him. No, this is him being progressive.
Yeah, no, honestly,
And
it's
he's a
pretty-
Republican, so I do, and he didn't vote for Trump, but he is a Republican,
Okay.
and he's a very centrist guy, and he's like horrified by where his
Will you
party's
forward me
going.
that?
Yeah, but I'm like very inspired by this.
I think it's
He's
like
70.
I think it's also supposed to be dashes, so the periods.
No,
it's-
he, his, him. At first, I was like, "Is this a religious thing?"
Yeah, you did. You're like,
because I
oh,
couldn't possibly
yes.
understand what was happening.
Yeah.
but no, he.
Well,
means
where
this.
did he pick this up? How
Who
he's in
knows Whitney?
Because he's on the East Coast now.
At the deprivation chamber?
Yeah,
Yes, like I don't know,
at
but
the nail salon.
But when I tell you, this is just like he's like, yeah, this is what I should do. Mm-hmm. So, Whitney, it has been an honor and a pleasure to have you.
choice.
Everyone, you must watch Whitney's stand-up special
Oh
on
my
Netflix.
God.
Can I Touch It? Out now. You have an amazing book. I'm fine.
Thank you.
I mean, your work
I
is.
laughed
You have a
so
new
hard.
pilot that you're shooting now.
I love that. I like that pilot is now. an
Don't forget when
accomplishment.
Busy Phillips and I shot a pilot, and she started a campaign to get people to pick it up, and people know the name of a pilot that never aired. Don't forget. So look, pilot is something.
Pilot is, it's in the lexicon.
Do we know what's happening with your show?
It's on Amazon. I was going to college campuses and hearing about all the hullabaloo going on college campuses. Him, his, him, having to sign all these his, him. Sorry, and all the. I was like, trans girl wanted to play on the be a cheerleader, and a trans boy wanted to be on the football team, and couldn't figure. Like all the just kind of. What you can say, what you can't say. Can you wear a MAGA hat? People are triggered. Just kind of everything. You can't say tranny anymore, and people trying to catch up, and people saying it, and is that And there is a class called the Ombudsman's Office that deals with these complaints, and all I could think about was Lisa Kudrow having to deal with these impossible situations.
Another dream, bringing it back to the comeback that you got to work with.
Did
her.
you work
Just a
with
dream?
her?
Yes.
And who do you play?
The best. I play the manager of the Ombudsman's Office, so I'm like kind of her assistant, and then she's the ombudsman. And she's like trying to catch up on the terms, and she just put a gender neutral bathroom in the women's locker room.
She's basically Paul Wilson.
She's like, she's like, I don't understand. Like, I don't even get. She's like, I don't get it, but I want to do the right thing.
Yes.
Which I think a lot of people are like. A lot of people are just like, just tell me what to say. Tell me the right thing to say. Tell me the new thing. You know,
I'll do it. Yeah,
I just
yeah.
want to get it right. But we're all kind of walking on eggshells trying to get it right. And we're going to make mistakes. And we all have that sketchy photo from 10 years ago on a Halloween costume that is probably now problematic.
Yeah,
We're all
sure,
hoping
sure.
goes
Yes,
away. You know, so just sort of everyone dealing with it all. And
Well, I'm so excited. And also you have a movie that you directed and you star in with many other amazing
that's
people.
very
The
nice.
Female Brain.
It's enough. It's enough. It's enough.
You've got a lot going on. You're
busy.
busy.
It's enough.
Thank you for being here.
Love you.
Taking time out from
Honor and
your
a privilege.
course
What is that
glove.
box of lettuce to your left? Can I now
That's
ask?
for lunch.
This was my lunch, a salad.
Oh God, that's heartbreaking.
Chef Travis whipped this on up.
I'm sorry.
Chef Travis?
Who's Chef Travis?
A man that we hired to make
Salads?
foods for my son who has celiac disease. But then, of course,
Well,
I
that's
bumped
the
a
whole
few
thing.
little things over
You
to
had to-
my end.
you
of
had-
things. Dave was like, he's here to just like make some things for Max once a week. I was like,
fine.
he's now doing.
But
all my
why?
meals.
It's just what else is in it that you can? I'm just.
What do you mean? It's a salad. Grilled
Okay.
chicken,
Got it,
and
got it.
mozzarella, and
Okay, that's complicated.
Avocado.
It looks just like.
well, he made chicken parmesan with like almond breading.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, Chef Travis.
Now we're just doing small talk.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Whitney, thank you
Love
for
you.
joining
So
us.
happy to finally get you on our
What
program.
a dream! I listened to Kristen Wiig one, and I wish I hadn't because then I was intimidated.
I mean, well, look, like we said, you're in the top 3 in terms of
Who's the
famous
other
people.
one?
I mean, you know, and I don't want to say more famous. I just want to say sharing the space with you. Yeah, you know, we had a Roxanne Gay, we had a Chelsea Handler, sharing this space with you.
Yeah.
You're in rarefied air, baby girl.
Yeah.
I love you
As
too
I'm
so
sure you love to
much.
be called. Thank you,
Baby
Danielle.
girl.
Thank you, Whitney.
Casey. Thank you, Whitney.
Love
Goodbye.
you. Love you.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. It's Casey. We have a very exciting announcement. The second half of our interview with the amazing and incredible Whitney Cummings is actually in our bonus sessions. It's the first one. It's been released simultaneously, so it's available now. Bitch Sesh bonus sessions. That's very hard to say. They are coming starting today. We've got Whitney, and every Tuesday, only on Stitcher Premium, we will drop new episodes. We're so proud of these, and we hope you enjoy them. And last thing, our tickets are going on sale for our Halloween extravaganza, October 30th at Largo, 8 p.m. Please dress up as your favorite housewife with guests Jerry O'Connell and Jessica St. Clair. This is big. Please, everyone dress as Dr. Deb. Love to all, and thanks for listening.